Welcome to Satisfactory Design. My name is Nilaus, and today I'm going to talk about coal power. Coal power is certainly better than you think it is, and therefore we are going to take a look at just how much better it is or how good it is. It comes in three evolutions, three stages, depending on your tech level, and it naturally progresses through the different tech levels. Let's start at how we get it. We get it from our coal mining location. Very simple. This is unlocked in the hub and at tier 3. So once you unlock it, this is pretty much where you want to go with the power. It transitions easily out of biofuel and it can be manually inserted. However, it's not just a sort of a mid-tier because it scales absolutely insanely awesome. So what you're going to do is when you start building the first tier, you're going to have a Mark 1 miner and you're going to put it on a pure mining node. If you don't have a pure mining node, then to combine this, then do the same, but combine two normal nodes. There are no impure nodes in the game, but so either take one pure or two normal. It'll give you 120 per minute, which will easily be exactly what you can do at this tech level. At this level, you do not have steel, so the best belt you can have is a Mark II belt. So that fits very well together. 120 created by the miner plus 120 created by or transported by the belt. So at another tech level, once you have steel, then you can actually upgrade. At that point you can upgrade to a Mark II miner. A Mark II miner will, let's do this one, will deal 240 will transport 240 per minute. And at this point you also have the Mark III belts, which comes from steel beams. The Mark III belts transport, wait for it, here 270 per minute. So at this point, well, you actually should be just getting this one up so that it matches the belt capacity. Sorry, 113, yes. So here, so you scale out to 113. It uses slightly more power, but that's kind of irrelevant. But you want to cap it at here. So there's no point at this point to go higher up. If you have a normal mode, just go crazy. But if you only have a normal, or if you have a pure node, no point in going above 270 because that's what your belt can transport. So do that and do nothing more. Now at the very late game, you will have Mark IV belts here. And Mark IV belts take, that's great, I just picked up some crap from the belt. Mark IV belts transport, as we know, 450 resources per minute. And in order for us to get this one up to 450, we need one more power shot in. 188, there you go. And that'll give us 450. Again, no point getting it any higher before we have any higher belt tiers. Let's keep it active. Here. So this is working, just joining up. So those are the three tiers. You can either get 120, 270, or 450 coal coming out of each pure node. That is very important to know because that is the basis for our construction. So let's start looking at the very first level you're going to build, which is corresponding to a Mark I belt. Yes, I'll just be using my transport system here to get back up to where we are going to build. Alright, so we're going to do the first part you will build is the 120 coal per minute. And let's go back over to this location. So if you take a look at your 120 per minute, let's have a look at our coal power plants. So coal power plants here. If only I had a bit of coal so I could actually show you what it does. Luckily I have prepared in advance, like so. So here, a coal power plant produces 50 megawatts at peak capacity, and in order to produce 50 megawatts, it will use one coal every 5.4 seconds. Since there's no draw on this network, there's no consumption, and this also proves the part which I've seen some people misunderstand. It only consumes the power needed, and don't let this fool you. This means that you can hook up way more plants than you actually have because you're working your power plant at 20% capacity Well, then you can build 5 times as many power plants as you need because it still has product, but don't do that. You build it towards the maximum capacity of the belt you have inbound and nothing more. Nothing more, because anything above that will be wasted and it'll give you a false sense of security because it will inflate the numbers here, but in actual fact you will not be able to get it. So it's very important. Use this number. So what we do with this number is basically saying, the interesting thing is this is this duration in second, while everything else, the belts, is items per minute. So we need to convert this to items per minute. So we take the 60 seconds per minute and then divide it by 5.4, and then we get to the 11.11 coal per minute is being consumed for each of these. And since our belt here, our Mark II belt, transports 120 per minute, then what we need, what we can support from one Mark I miner and Mark II belts, moving at this very slow rate, is exactly this beautiful setup they have right here. Why is it always nighttime when I build? I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Technically it's 10.8, but we are going to round it off to 11. This will give us a total of 540 peak megawatt capacity. What you will see here is that if you build something like this one has sort of an inherent flaw that if you look at it, it starts from the start. If you just get stuff in here, 50% will go into the first and 50% will move on. That means this one will get way more. So this one, at this point, it'll go 1/4 and 1/4 the rest to the rest of it, and then 1/8 to the rest, and so on and so forth. That means the very bottom one will take a while to hook up. However, as you can also see, these ones gradually fill up. When they fill up, they will only consume at the capacity. And you can see here the network, it's slowly moving up. So 450 means that we've now hooked up the 9th one as well. And then we see the coal, if it even gets further down here. See, this one has not received any fuel yet. It will eventually. And that's just simply by chance of the splitters. This means you will not get the peak capacity immediately, but you will get it. Don't worry. It'll fill up and it'll saturate all of them, because at that point, when this one has 100, it'll slow down to the capacity of using one every 5.4 seconds if it's operating at peak capacity, which it never will be. And so the last one will also get. So that's 11. It looks beautiful. This means at this point, that means you suddenly jump from having a few pathetic biomass burners producing, I don't know, a couple of 100 megawatts into this beautiful setup that delivers you 540 megawatts of peak capacity with absolutely no maintenance whatsoever. The only draw on it is the 14 megawatts we use for the miner, so that's totally trivial. Now that's tier 1. Let's have a look. Let's jump where I'll be looking at the next tiers just so we can see what that looks like. And that will, instead of being 120 coming in per minute, it'll be 270. So by the power of video editing, let's skip forward. And we're back. So this is now, we now have 24 power plants hooked up. It looks absolutely stunning. We can see here that from our Mark I construction, if we look at the power consumption, well, the power available, it's 550. That was what we have from one tier 2 belt, 120 coal per minute coming in. Now at this point, we are imagining that we have steel available. We have maybe not really encompassed steel in the Mark IV, but we have like an intermediate, which should give us a very good supply. So we have the availability of miners Mark II, and we have belts Mark III, and that will give us an input of 270 per minute by overclocking slightly a Mark II miner on a pure. So that gives a Mark III belt, which we will then link in here. And then we'll see basically the same thing. What we have is, we'll just go up here because it's such a nice view. And then you should be able to see that the puffs of smoke are coming in. The belt is of course moving a lot faster. You can see here, this is a Mark III, this is going over the Mark IV, that's why it's not fully saturated as it turns the corner. I'm doing it simply for simplicity. Now at this point we will see things spreading down the line and it'll give us more power. So at this point we have 24 coal power plants, technically 24.3, so you could put one at the end if you feel so inclined, but I think 24 is such a nice number to put in 2 rows that why would you ever want to ruin that by making it 25? And 5 times 5 is just an odd shape for some buildings like this. So what we have here is now we should be able to see how they are gradually powering on in the network. Let's see, we're up to 900 and it will continue to go. Just look at this beautiful thing. The thing is, once you build this, is completely 100% stable. You never have to go back. It'll not run out of coal. It'll not do anything crazy like that. It'll just absolutely just work. Let's see if we get anything down here. Nothing yet. 550. So there's still a few ones that are not working, and that's simply because of the belt saturation not reaching all the way down here. Come on, it's really empty, isn't it? That's also because they are continuing to fill up the other sides. But I mean, gradually, eventually we will get all the way down here and get a bit of coal. This one has not even received a single one. Let's put something in here. I want to see how it works. We can't wait for random chance here. And there, 1200 megawatts. It can technically produce ever so slightly more, but you're not going to be capping it anyway. And there you have it. That's 1200 megawatts of power, carefree from a single pure copper. And on the map there are a lot of pure copper mines, and of course you need some of them for steel as well. But just imagine you take one single mine, and what you can get from this is this beautiful thing here. 1200 megawatts of power. However, that's not it. That's not all of it, because there is a Mark IV built, and you can even scale it up further, and I would highly encourage you to do that, because why not? It's single. Your only real constraint on the map is the amount of mines that you can get, and so that means every mine you can find, you eventually have to squeeze every tiny little bit out of it. And that's the next stage. We saw in the beginning that we could get 450 out. So let's build a factory that matches, that consumes 450, and see what that looks like. So again, by the power of video editing, I'll jump forward a bit in time. And we're back for the final stage of this coal power plant. We can now see the row has been extended significantly, and the concept is still the same. We have an empty belt, just so we are ready to go. Let's start hooking it up and just see what goes. So now we have a Mark IV belt feeding into this. This is going to be fully saturated by a Mark II miner, overclocked to 188%, which will give you exactly, well, give the 451 per minute, which is enough to saturate a belt. So we come in here with a saturated belt, and let's have a look what we have at this moment. Let's just make sure we see it correctly. We have the 120 megawatts, which is what we could do with our Mark III belts. But now we have a better, just count down here. Just want to just see the absolute beauty of this. And remember, this is what I want to highlight. This is a single coal mine, a single pure coal mine. And here we go. That just flows down here. It will move on a Mark IV belt, so you can see that it spreads a lot faster downstream. Although, yep, and then it's empty. But more will come, more will follow. And as we progress down here, we now have a total of 40 power plants down here. We can also build another little vantage point down here, just to enjoy the absolute beauty of this. And I think the key point here is just keep highlighting the fact that we are still dealing with just a single mine. You know what? I'll just jump up here. This thing. Boom. And let's see if they're all hooked up so we can get a sense of how much is actually there. Well, it is, this one should be working, but this is what the capacity is going to be. It's going to be 2,000 megawatts of power from a single coal mine. Remember that. So consider that at the end game. For every coal mine you find, you can get 2,000 megawatts of power. I don't know. For me, that seems not just really good, it seems insanely overpowered. Sure, there are a lot of things that take a lot of power, but if you look at it like this, you can just, the coal is quite abundant on the map. You do not need all of it for steel, especially because steel is not something you really need in stupidly vast quantities with good enough recipes. So just take the rest of the coal and convert it. You can commit all of your oil into plastic production in order to make more computers, more supercomputers. So this is also very simple. This is a mid-game tech that you get, and you can transition into the late game basically by saying you start by building 11, then you put in another side on this. It was easy to extend, and then you extend it all the way up to 20. And that's basically as it is. Very, very beautiful, in my opinion. Beautiful pollution we got here. Everything is just bright and green. So definitely I would recommend this as the power option. I really haven't had a use for any oil-based, and I'd rather use my oil for dedicating towards plastic production. So that's gonna be it. Let's recap the numbers. The first transition is a Mark 1 miner on a pure, delivering 120 coal per minute. That goes into 11 coal power plants and giving you 540 megawatts of power. The second transition is Mark 3 belts, 270 coal per minute. That it can support 24 coal power plants and give you 1200 megawatts. And the final transition is Mark 4 belts, one overclocked Mark 2 miner, giving you 450 coal per minute, and that is 40 coal power plants and a total of 2000 megawatts of power. Beautiful, clean coal power. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this kind of tutorial, be sure to hit the like button. Comment below if you don't like my math. I know there are some rounding errors, but that is a artistic discretion in order to build it nicely. And let me know what other things you want to see in terms of tutorials, and I hope to see you in a future episode. Thank you very much. Until next time, stay effective.